Let's jump into the most critical one then. Let's see, because you know, Concord is shutting down. 8 years, 8 years of development, chat. This game took 8 years to develop, and it's shutting down already. What is it? It's only been like what? Has it only been like a week or something, or 2 weeks? When did this game? When did this game came out? Let me see. Hold on. Concord's release date. The 23rd of August. It's only been roughly about like a week. It's only been a week and 5 days. That's it. A week and 5 days. It didn't even make the 2 weeks. It did not even make 2 weeks, chat. Only 1 week and 5 days. That's it. It didn't even last for 2 weeks. That's crazy. I have to say, that's probably the most craziest thing in my entire life, to be honest. Damn, dude. Just literally only a week and 5 days. Not even 2 weeks. It didn't even last for 2 weeks. Isn't there a pre-order bonus? Is there? Was there actually a... There's a I know there's a $70 one. Apparently you get a Monarch pack or so for a pre-order bonus. And then you have the deluxe edition, which you get 72 hours of early access. You get 16 character skins and the Monarch pack if you spend like what, 60 or 70 bucks or so on Concord for that edition. And then there's the DualSense that will probably pick it up or so, you know. I'll probably order it and then have it shipped here. Hopefully it'll come here before I move. So yeah, let's take a look at it, shall we? Let's take a look at the video. Concord is dead, chat. Concord is dead.
Do you even realize how lucky you are to be alive right now? To exist at the same time as Concord. You are alive at a time that people will talk about for centuries to come. You get to witness the biggest failure in gaming. Not only the biggest failure in gaming, but undoubtedly one of the biggest failures in all of entertainment.
Hey man, even Skull and Bones from Ubisoft is even doing better than Concord. That's pretty fucking sad. And fucking, you know, Skull and Bones was also not a great game either. So yeah.
PlayStation just announced that they're already shutting down Concord in 3 days from now. That's the doomsday for all 9 people still inhabiting that barren wasteland. The game didn't even survive 2 full weeks. I probably could have lasted longer on a deserted island with only fucking coconuts to satiate me. This game just barely squeaked over a week of life. And life is a term I'm using very loosely because this game was never alive to begin with. It was dead on arrival. 660 all-time peak, and even right now with this news that it's going to be shutting down, not even those 660 people bothered to flock to it to get like one last ride in there, one little ooh-rah before it sails off into the sunset. I imagine most of those players probably already refunded the game because it was a $40 game that was a watered-down, worse version of all of its free counterparts that it was trying to suckle from the teats of. It was an embarrassing flop that everyone with eyes saw coming from a mile away, except for...
Yeah, the problem is like this game cost $40 compared to like other hero shooter games, right? Which it costs free, basically, like nothing. Right? You have Overwatch. You also have the new Marvel hero shooter game that's coming out as well. And it's also free to play as, you know, like why, and plus also on top of that, it's Marvel Heroes. It's gonna be like the IP for it's gonna be super more popular than Concord, where it's kind of like a new fresh IP, right? But then the problem is it killed itself. The moment it killed itself is when it started charging $40. That was 100% the moment it kind of like killed itself.
Sony, it seems. 8 years
Hey,
in
Dubstep.
development, millions upon millions of dollars in the shitter here. only for the game to exist for barely over a week. A loaf of bread lasts longer than Concord did, and they're pulling the plug on it already. It should have never even released in the first place. This was a complete waste of 8 years of time and money. It is rough. This is a harder flop than my cock under your mother's chin. I do not, and I said this last time, I do not know who this game was ever made for.
You wanted the controller and I couldn't get you anything on your throne, but you can get whatever will make you happy, Co. Oh, okay. You didn't have to do it though.
Because the audience it tries to appeal to was never going to switch to this game because it's already $40. You've already lost that battle. Because all of the other games in that genre are free and better.
Yeah.
So it was a surprise to no one that when this game dropped, its player count sucked shit through a crazy straw. Nobody was asking for this. There wasn't a demand for it. There was no one lining up to purchase this. This was something nobody wanted, like a lump.
And also on top of that, if I remember correctly too, as well, in the when they showcased Concord, wasn't there like 2 other hero shooter games as well? What was it? Was it Summer Game Fest that they announced it, right? Like they had a trailer for Concord. Like wasn't 2 other ones announced as well on that actual event as well? I remember one of them was like you play with like cards and stuff like that. I don't know if it's a hero shooter or not, but I just thought it was specifically where you can change the environment and you can change like the opponents having a big head or something like that to make it easier to snipe and everything. You have a new champion, Val. You need to get the code. You need to get the code, the 2B cosplay on Ko's throne. This motherfucker, I swear to God.
A coal for Christmas. It really is not a shocker that this game never breached 700 players. Its peak was 660. That is pathetic. That is laughable. If you go into like Steam dumpster diving, you can just throw a fucking dart at your computer monitor and whatever game it lands on that you've never heard of, like fucking Glorbus's Hemorrhoid Adventure, that probably had more than 660 players at some point. It is hard to find a game that had this little hype around it. Like, playing Concord was like going into an empty Burger King. This whole thing was just sad. And now they're already pulling the plug on it less than 2 weeks after it's been out. I also love the way they start their statement, Concord fans, as if any of those exist. You'd be more likely to find aliens than Concord fans. We've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PlayStation 5 and PC and want to thank everyone who has joined the journey aboard the North Star. You could have just sent all of them a DM. Like, there's not many of them. You could have easily reached them directly. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. I don't know where that community is, I'm going to be honest. The only passion I see in regards to Concord is people passionately shitting on it and laughing at it. Because it is a spectacle how badly this game flopped. However, while the many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize that other aspects of the game and our initial launch didn't land the way we'd intended. Therefore, this time we've decided to take the game offline beginning September 6, 2024 and explore options including those that will better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately and we'll begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased the game for PS5 or PC. If you purchase the game for PS5 from the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct, a refund will be issued back to your original payment method. It is exceptionally rare to see something fail to this degree. Millions upon millions of dollars invested in this project over the course of 8 years with a big team of people working on it. And they get like 30 grand in sales from PC. Relative to what they spent on this project, that $30,000 return is incomprehensibly tiny. They released a wet fart that will be talked about in economics courses, I think, for eons to come.
I think, because like when I first initially saw Concord, right? Because last year we got the teaser, like if I remember correctly, right? It was last year where we got the teaser trailer for Concord, where they just kind of showed like a cheeseburger, like a kind of like a cinema, like a cinematic kind of like view inside like the cockpit or so of the spaceship or so. And I was like, I don't know what it is, right? And then when I saw I think when we saw the cutscene of this year, I think when it came out, I thought initially, right? I thought this was going to be a single player game, you know? Because I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. I kind of like it, right? But then when they said hero shooter, I was just kind of like, I'm like, come on, dude. Like, really? Are you serious? Like, come on. Like, I honestly, I would have preferred, I've actually would have preferred a single player game with these characters and the setting and the world and everything instead of like a hero shooter, you know? I was just kind of like, ugh. I was like, I think I even said who asked for this anyways. Like, yeah. I think I said it or so. I was like, who asked for this?
To put that in perspective, that $30,000 they made on PC sales for Concord most likely don't even cover a year's worth of electricity bills for the office building that their employees work out of. I decided to look at a couple of numbers out of curiosity. So Firewalk has roughly 150 employees based on what I can find, and I can't find any information on the building they work out of, but let's just assume that they're working out of a mid-sized office building that's usually used for about 100 employees, and according to these numbers here, a business will spend about $1.44 per square foot on electricity and 30 cents per square foot on natural gas. So an annual cost for a mid-sized office building of 20,000 square feet, which is used for about 100 employees, will come out to $34.8K. This was developed for 8 years, and what they made on PC doesn't even cover 1 year's worth of just electricity and energy costs. What a fucking historic blunder. Now,
Damn, they didn't have enough money to pay the bills? Damn. Oh, dude, that is... Damn, what a time that we live or so. This year had so many big flops. But man, dude, Concord definitely takes the cake for the biggest flop of this year. The biggest flop of 2024 goes to Concord. There's no way no one else can flop even worse than Concord. Like, honestly, there's no way. I think definitely Concord has taken the cake or so for that one.
Now, I imagine a lot of the developers at Firewalk work remote, but even still, I imagine they have some kind of headquarters somewhere, and that building would not have even been able to keep the lights on.
Oh yeah, that's
the
true.
$30,000 that this game made. So it never even came close to breaking a profit. It wasn't even in the same universe as the word profit. I can't think of anything else that has ever flopped this hard. This is just crazy. It's already getting the plug pulled after just 10 days. So, yeah, I am beyond surprised because I thought they'd at least ride this as much as they could, like trying to update the game, like desperately trying to get some players to buy into it. Like, I thought this would go at least 6 months, like a full season or something of the game, but it didn't even make it like a full 2 weeks. It blows my mind. Like, I'm not surprised by how poorly it performed. I am surprised it performed this poorly because even like, no matter how bad a AAA game is, people will mindlessly buy it. Except when it comes to Concord. That is how little interest there was in a game like this. So, that's going to be a big lesson for the gaming industry, I think. Or at least it should.
Oh yeah, I kind of forgot about Dustborn, to be honest. But at the same time, right? Like, the difference between Dustborn and this one, right? It's a hero shooter. It's an online, updating game compared to Dustborn. Dustborn is a single player game, right? It's an offline single player game. And Concord is a multiplayer, online, hero shooter PvP kind of game, That's why I think Concord is probably the biggest flop or so, because they have to pay for the servers, right? They have to pay for the employees. They worked on this game for 8 years, Ever since what? The first Overwatch? Apparently this game has been in development since the first Overwatch game. So, yeah. Conquer was not worldwide. Thank God. I could not even see the Steam. I cannot even see it on the Steam page. Really interesting. Yeah. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's pretty fucking crazy, A live service game like that is crazy. Dustborn can be pirated if you have nothing better to do with your life. Yeah. Yeah. Compared to Concord, you can't really do that. You can't really like pirate it or so, unless you want to set up your own private server for it. But even then, it's just like like compared to Dustborn and to compare to Dustborn and Concord or so, Concord is definitely like the biggest flop or so because it's a live service game, and usually the live service games need to be they need to live long enough from with their microtransactions from the in-game store for skins and or whatever or battle pass or whatever the fuck they were gonna basically do because they were gonna eventually add a battle pass to it. There's no way they're not gonna add a battle pass to it. Like that's definitely 100% that they would add a battle pass into it. So, but I think in my personal opinion, it's is pretty bad, to be honest. Thank God I didn't spend any money on this game. I wasn't even gonna try it out. Like apparently you had to pay or so to get into the beta, right? You had to like pre-order to get into the beta. But even then, even I wouldn't even do that personally. Like I like there was like something telling me it's just like, man, there's something wrong with this game. Like I don't know what it is, but it's my own like gamer intuition or so, right? Because I've been playing video games for such a long time, so I can basically kind of tell. I can basically kind of like tell or so about it. There was a free beta weekend, which did worse than the paid beta, I think. Really? Oh, I completely forgot that they did a free beta for it. Watch out, Dustborn got that cancer move. There was a free one. I played it to play with Varadark. Oh, I see. I didn't even know there was a free beta weekend, to be honest. See, that's how I don't even know. I didn't even know about it, so but yeah, no, I would have initially thought it was a single player game. It would have been better if it was a single player game. I think I would have played it and I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit better if it was a single player game. I think all of you guys can agree, the aesthetic, the art style, and the characters and everything, right? I think it just would have been better if it was a single player game instead of it being a hero shooter, About 2K players in the open beta. Yeah. I think me personally, I would have been fine if it was a single player game because then it'd be like, oh, this is a pretty enjoyable single player game, I don't say it's like amazing or anything, but it's a pretty enjoyable single player game nonetheless. But like when I heard them say it was like a like what is it, 5v5 or 6v6 hero shooter or something like that, I was just kind of like, I was like, come on, dude. I was even pretty upset when they literally said that, 5v5. Okay, yeah, because they said it because when they did their developer thing or so on the I think on Summer Game Fest, I think is when they announced it. I was just kind of like, I was like, come on, dude, really. Like, because like look at this, right? So what was it? I think it was Summer Game Fest, right? Where we got the Concord Summer Game Fest, right? Is where we got the trailer for this, right? And it wasn't even that long ago.
Free gunning. It's hard work.
But this wasn't this. I don't know if this was the trailer or not. No, this was not the trailer.
Well, you're free.
Right on target. Yeah, you better.
This was not the trailer. Where is the trailer for Concord? Let's see. A cinematic trailer. Yeah. When I specifically saw this, right? It was 3 months ago. Yeah, this was during Summer Game Fest. This was literally during Summer Game Fest. When I initially saw this, right? When this came up or so, I thought it was pretty cool, right? I thought this was pretty cool. I thought this would be a single player game. I wouldn't mind playing a single player game, Like I said, I'm open to like new single player games, So I thought this was a single player game, The whole cinematic, the whole cinematic trailer. So it's like this is pretty high budget or so for like a fucking because I didn't know it was a hero shooter, right? I was like, this is a pretty high budget or so for a for a single player game, I thought from like this cinematic it would transition. I thought it would transition into like a first person, like a first person single player game, That's what I initially thought this was going to transition into. And then you can like swap characters or so, right? Like you can change, like you can have like, how like in Dragon's Dogma, right? You can change characters and stuff like that. I thought that would be the same thing. Or you can play with your friends or so. You know, you can have like a 4-player co-op kind of type of thing, or a 5-player co-op or something like that for a single-player game. You know, that would have been super cool in my personal opinion.
It was
You know,
a spontaneous, creative decision made after years of careful research.
because I thought initially this was going to be a single-player game. This totally 100% misled me, like 100%. You know.
Worked, didn't it?
How much longer for the upload?
A few more minutes. Hey, start time. Try it with hot sauce. You'll like it. Trust me.
No. Do not trust him.
Whoa. Where's this coming from?
It's coming from you back on the ship saying, trust me, we're professionals. We'll stick to the plan. We can do this. And then...
Like, this isn't bad. Like, this isn't bad at all, you know?
That was not the plan.
Technically, it was a plan. It just wasn't the same plan that we started with.
If we don't leave with this blue button...
Tamar, we will. We will.
I'll be waiting outside.
No one moves. We'll be taking this off your hands.
What? This?
Funny.
Yeah, no, like this cinematic trailer. So for this game or so, definitely the budget was super high or so for this cinematic budget trailer. Like this cutscene is way so like it's a cinematic trailer, right? It's just way too high budget or so for just only a PvP game. No single player game, no PvE, no, you know, not really much substance in the game itself, you know? I thought for a moment there, so when I initially thought, I thought this game, waste of hot sauce, yeah. So I thought when they were gonna walk out or so, right? When they were gonna walk out right here, I thought this would have turned into a single player game right there. I thought it would have turned into like a first person single player game, you know? And then you just play the game itself, you know? Right? But no, it still kept continuing to be this like the cinematic trailer thing, you know?
Well played.
Fine. They only got one of my legs.
How are those hands?
Man, dude, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty waste of money, to be honest.
Got him.
Because imagine all of this, right? You're in first person, right? Like in Dishonored, right? You know how like Dishonored is in first person and everything like that, or like BioShock is in first person, right? And it does have like shooting elements, right? Imagine this setting, right? You're chasing the enemy in a hall, like in an alley or so, right? In a first person, right? You have to get this person who took your thing, right? Who took this thing or so on the floor, right? You're chasing them down and everything, right? And then you just kind of like, you know, this is where you end up at the end, you know, and you try to jump on them or try to shoot them, and you know, you try to grab this thing or so to, you know, like you can have all of this and everything, but it would have been better if it was just if it was just a, you know, a first person shooter single player game like Dishonored or like BioShock, you know, like it just would have been better. Like the quality of this cutscene is really nice. The cinematic reveal trailer, right? Or the cinematic trailer in general, right? Like it just would have been better, you know. And then like also on top of that, right? Let's see. Look at the and then look at this too on top of this. This is the opening, like these are the opening cutscenes for these. Look at the opening cutscenes for these. Hey, Motherland.
Was that?
No.
That?
Sorry.
Oh, come on. We crushed that last job. Were they even watching? Oh, that's gotta be.
We have come to once again inquire
These are all the cutscenes of this game.
about our free gunner status.
I am prepared to bask in glory.
I don't think there's gonna be any basking today, buddy. We're still locked out.
But did you tell them I have drank of the ancestral blood?
Yeah, 7
And
minutes.
that I keep a very tidy ship.
We cannot.
And look at the quality of this cutscene too. It just would have been better You know? What have I been doing for years? I have no idea. This game has been in development for like 8 years, to be honest. I feel like a lot of the work or so went into the cutscenes, like 100%. But like, it just would have been better if it was just a single player game.
Tell them anything until they unlock the free gunner frequency.
They should have done, you know what? In my personal opinion, they should have done like a mixture of like BioShock, a mixture of Dishonored, a mixture of what is that one game or so that one game from outer plane or outer space or whatnot from the creators of Fallout? I forgot the name. Outer Planes or whatever the fuck is called that game or so, where you can do like decision choices and everything like that, right? Your choices kind of like affect or so. Outer Wilds, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. They should have done something like that, like an amalgamation of those 3 games, you know?
What? Most people never get what they want. Set your expectations.
I think it would have been so much better. You know what I would have thought? You know what I would have thought or so? If you were playing this by yourself, right? And you can play this like drop in, drop out co-op. That would be that's what I would do, right? It would be a drop in, drop out co-op if you want to do it. Or if you want to play it by yourself, right? And then you have like kind of like these mission structures or so, stuff like that. You can choose which character you want to play, right? Like you can choose any of these characters, right? And you drop into the world or so, right? To do your mission, right? Because they do missions, right? That's what they do or so. I would have loved it if they had levels like that specifically, but they have the levels kind of like structured for like like if you're playing, let's say this character, right? You're going into a different direction, right? You go into a different direction compared to like the trash can guy or the or this redhead dude right here or this guy right here. Like you would go in, like for me personally, this is how I would design the game itself. Like it would go into a different like pathway or so, because every character plays differently, right? Like that would be my main focus. Like every character plays differently, but then you can like, if you choose this character, right, you're going to go into a different direction compared to this character or that character, you know? Like, I think that's how I would have done like kind of like the story mission structure kind of type of thing for me personally. Like that's how I would have done it. And I think it would have been cool or so. And then you would have some semi-open world stuff, right? Where you can visit some places or so to accept missions and stuff like that. And then, you know, harvest some materials and stuff like that, get some new weapons or upgrades or anything, or get some new abilities and stuff like that. Like I would find some kind of way to do something like that. That's how I would have, you know, structured the game itself. You know, that's basically what I would have done if I was like the head lead developer or so for Concord. That's basically is what I would have done for the game itself. And I think it would have been 10 times more better than doing a hero shooter, you know, especially with these kinds of cutscenes.
Prepare to be disappointed.
Wow.
If they disappoint her, I will hunt down these free gunners and I will speak to them very sternly.
It'll happen.
Sony should have given the money to Director Co.
Someday.
Like I've played so many video games. That's the only reason why is like I want to eventually, maybe in the future, if I ever get successful as a VTuber, I would like to open up a game studio, make a game. You know, of course, I'll start small, right? We'll start making a small game or so, a small indie game first before we make a, you know, one of the bigger ones, right? Or unless we want to jump into making a bigger one, like a bigger single player game, but it'll take us like 10 years to make it. But, you know.
Transmission will come in and it says...
We're in.
Exactly, and then...
No veil. We're in.
We're free gunners.
Give me the IP of Concord, give me the studio, and I bet you $10 I can turn this around real fast.
Oh, how wonderful!
I will turn this
I do
around
not like
so
having this
quick
turn.
in the development or so. Because I know what I would be doing with these characters. Because they have all the assets. They have literally all of the assets for this. And I would literally transform this game into a different genre. You know? I would turn it into a single player game.
Captain.
Linux, you don't have to.
No. I want to say this. I've been alive a long time, and I have done some pretty awesome things. And some
No, I'll be
not so
streaming
awesome
still.
things like that time on Nitgood with the spicy fungus, but that's not what this is about. This is about, well...
What do you guys think of my idea or so about like Concord? If I had Concord in my possession, right? And if I had the studio, what do you guys think? What do you think of my pitch idea or so about it? You know, do you guys like it, chat?
There is no one I would rather traipse across this crazy galaxy with than you. You are the finest starship in the skies.
I'd say keep the same personality, right? Keep the same personality, keep the same, I would probably read the script or so to see how the humor is about the game itself, right? I think keep everything how it is, but then like I would completely change it. There's a reason why people wanted a game story mission for Overwatch characters. Yeah. But imagine if I would have done that, right? And then like maybe later on I'll probably tack on a multiplayer game, but it'd probably be more better or so, right? But I think I would focus a lot more on the single player aspect of this game. And then, like each character, right? If you choose this character in a story mission, right? You decide to play this character instead of like, the other characters, so, right? They go through a different experience, they go through a different pathway and shoot different enemies. And you have to do different objectives or so to help your other teammates, throughout another scuffle or so that they're kind of like going through,
Now, we should probably accept that offer before they realize we're a bunch of crazy misfits and they change their mind.
Yeah. Like, let's say for example, right? Let's say the trash can guy, right? You have to save your teammate or so because there's like there's gonna be like they're basically like using EMPs or so to kill your friend, right? So you have to find like, let's say for example, right? You have to go through this pathway or so, right? You have to go through this. I'm just kind of putting an example. I'm just kind of make this shit. I'm kind of like basically making this shit on the fly, right? So the trash can guy would be fighting against other robots, right? But then they're equipped with like some kind of EMP shit, right? And they're doing massive damage on you, right? And that's your friend that's playing it, right? If there's a drop in, drop out co-op kind of type of thing, right? So you as the player, right? If you're playing one of the other characters, let's say for this guy, right? Let's say this guy, for example, right? He's asking you for your request or so to help him in some sort of shape or way or form, right? But in order for you to help him, right? You have to go to the mainframe to shut down the main computer central, right? For you to save your friend. But your friend has to literally survive long enough for this person to shut down the main computer. I can either make it in a boss fight, right? I can either make this person fight a boss, or I can make them like, go up to the computer, shut it off, and then, they have to kind of like protect the, they kind of have to protect the computer so while it's shutting down. And then robots are coming after him, or like kind of like enemies or something like that. I'd say like normal combatant enemies, right? Will come after him. And then you have to kind of find a way or so to try to defend yourself and defend the computer. Like I can do that, right? I can do that, or I can make him fight a boss fight, And each person has their own different boss fights and different mechanics or so for them to, go through the story. And then once you shut down or so, right? Your friend is saved, right? Your friend is, playing the robot guy, right? But then your friend has to survive long enough in that specific, room or so because they're trapped, I just kind of made it up right now, instantly. I just kind of like made it up right now specifically, but that's pretty much is what I have. I don't know what you guys think about it, but yeah.
The captain of the North Star, broadcasting for the first time.
So this robot guy, right? He would be fighting other robots, but the other robots would be equipped with EMPs to try to, kill him. And then this guy would be trying to go into the mainframe or so and trying to shut it down. Because that's the only way to shut down the robots, It's kind of like a Terminator, You know how like in Terminator, so there's like the main mother or so that controls all the other robots. That's basically is what I would want to do, on a certain mission in a story structure,
On the Free Gunner 414.
And then I can come up with something with this guy too as well, because like he looks very like kind of like native or so, right? More like kind of like an Amazonian kind of type of character kind of looks like, right? Belongs in the wild and stuff like that. Like I can make a story or something like that where, we go to his home planet and everything like that, like Skynet. Yeah, like basically like Skynet, I would make like some kind of story or so with him, where you kind of go along on journey or so to unlock, maybe a new ability or something like that, but you have to go through this like mystical kind of type of like fantasy kind of planet or so, Like kind of like the Avatar, like how the Avatar planet is, right? It's basically something like that. I would come up with something like that with this guy, Like for me, like this is basically is what I would do, like 100%,
Today, we join your ranks. One more ship blasting through the star fields faster than light. One more voice defying the guild, telling them they don't control
Like look at all these cutscenes. Like I'm not gonna lie, like this is like it's just a small cutscene or so, but goddamn, dude.
To be free.
With an honor-bound Colossian warrior,
and a keeper of a very tidy ship.
Never seen tidier.
So get ready, because from here on out, the free gunner crew of the North Star is on the job.
A North Star is a Dark Cutter.
Because my job for me, if I'm making a video game, right, I want to flesh out every single one of these characters that you see on the screen, because I want to have characters that you guys will love, and then I will want characters that you will guys hate. That's basically is what my goal is, you know? That's basically is how I want to structure the characters out. Sorry, I just like I wrote stories in the past, so that's the only reason why. I have some experience of writing characters out, you know, having a good backstory and everything, you know. Like look at all this, like look at this cutscene. Like there's another cutscene here.
The Galactic Guide.
Yep, it's a map.
Let's establish Farouk's glance and gather intel on the revolt. What happened? Did it cut out?
No. We're taking a moment to pay homage.
You switched it off? We got work to do. Captain, turn it back on.
I'm with Lennox. We should acknowledge the sacrifice.
Why are you kissing a tchotchke?
This is an authentic item from the starship Implacable. How do you two not know about the Implacable?
How old are you now?
Old enough to know legends matter.
Thank you, Captain. This map used to belong to the Guild and the Guild alone. They controlled the space lanes. Held the galaxy.
You know what I could also think too as well? You know, this could be like a ragtag team together, right? That somebody put them all together, you know? They all have kind of like different paths, right? They all like passed, I should say, my bad. And then somebody kind of like made them join to be a team. And then like you can have a structure, you have like a story or so where they start building bonds together, you know? Like at the beginning they don't really like each other. And then I can make a story or so where they start bonding with each other, you know, because you know, they start caring throughout the entire story, you know. And then at the very end, they become a team, you know. At the very end with the final boss itself, you know, closing to the end of the act or so, they finally realize, that they became close and they're now an actual, like, team, a unity or so. And they work together or so to kill the final boss, you know.
Hostage.
Like, I can even do that, too, as well. You know, part of the shit that I created just right now, you know.
They risked their lives, lost their lives to steal this map.
And they gave it away for free.
That's how the Free Gunners started.
To this day, that tradition is honored. New crews like us are given this map, these space lanes.
Because if she's supposed to be the captain, right? You know, this could have been a thing or so that I would have created.
So,
where they initially like hate each other at the beginning, but then throughout the story or so they start liking each other, you know, and they start building bonds together and everything like that, you know.
Now let's establish Farouk's
While I made the you know, the structures of the missions different with one another, you know. These are all the cutscenes for it, you know. It doesn't even have a name. This chapter doesn't even have a name, chat. It's called Name Final 02. That's interesting.
Oh, we have received a message from the Free Gunner crew, Dark Cutter.
Is an intimidating.
I feel like the rest of like the 4 years or something like that. I think they focused on making cutscenes so they can say like, oh, we have a new cutscene every single week to introduce the character, to introduce all the characters and everything like that. I feel like they spend most of their development years making the cutscenes for the characters, you know? Because I think initially the game was already finished, but then they decided to make the cutscenes for the characters. I feel like this is what really happened behind the scenes or so. I don't think it initially took 8 years to make this game. I feel like the time span to make this game was shorter, but I think they focused so much on the cutscenes themselves, it just kind of hindered the release date of this game.
Name.
Dark Cutter asks, demands that we turn around. Apparently they are after the same bounty on Glance.
Then it's gonna be a real bad day for them.
Perhaps we need a more intimidating name. The Hollow Mirage.
Dark Cutter was the crew that warned us about the guild check.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Now
But what do you guys think of my
threatening
idea or
Yeah,
so
that's how
for
it
the
goes.
for the game
Gunner
if I
forces
had
we
if
share
I
the
had the
stars, but once
IP
we're
for
planetside,
Concord?
It's every crew for themselves.
us. Oh my, how dramatic.
What if we were the Omen Riders?
Would you guys give it a try at least,
So,
you know?
the Dark Cutter crew, they are our enemy? Or a friend?
Yeah, both.
I find
These
this
are all the
really
cutscenes. These are literally all the cutscenes that were released or so with Concord.
Hey, you know what else would be thrilling? A successful mission on Glance. Come on, let's do this, people.
You got it, Captain.
Dark Cutter, watch your backs. Also, it is a pleasure flying the galaxy with you. Also, you do not stand a chance.
And your name does not intimidate us.
Like the CEO of Bungie. And that's literally it. That's all the cutscenes that came out for this game. That's it. That's literally it. It's just only 3 cutscenes. That's it.
Should be. It probably won't. They'll probably make like a Concord 2 in a year or so, because they most likely haven't learned anything valuable from this. But speaking of value, if you want something actually valuable, pick up Godslap. Issue 6 just dropped. That's right, we're moving into the new arc of Godslap, and issue 6 is out right now. Pick
I would
up a copy
100%
at
try your game.
badegg.co.
Yeah,
There's
like
a link in the
I would
description.
have done
And
something
also,
like
if you're
that.
thirsty, Goof Juice is always available, baby.
I would
Gamers-
try to make at least a rich story gameplay, you know? I think that's like basically my focus of making like really good single player games, you know?
subs.gg/moist. Link also in the description. Best flavor of any beverage.
I would try to
ever.
challenge
You
myself
can
to
sip
make
on some
something
Goof
new and
Juice while reading your
innovative with the
Godslap
FP,
and
like, you know, not the
looking
FPS,
as
but like
Concord
single player games, you know? Different types
gets
of
taken off
genres,
life
you know?
support. Now, what I do think should happen as a result of this public embarrassment that was Concord, the people that came up with the idea of making a hero shooter that's just the most derivative, generic, formulaic garbage, they are the ones that need to be held responsible the most. Those are the ones that should be fired. But we've seen time and time again that is never the case. When you reach a upper echelon position in an industry, you can only fail upwards. No matter how much money you lose, no matter how many times you stumble, fall, and cost the company greatly, you are always safe and only ever fail positively. Everyone underneath you gets punished. Like we saw this with John Risitiello at Unity. We just actually saw it with Suicide Squad. I just read the other day about how they're laying off a ton of like QA testers, even though it's not like the QA testers were responsible for Suicide Squad being a dog shit game. The people that made it a live service game and all of the other terrible ideas, it's their fault, not the QA testers that were just making sure the game fucking functioned, yet they're the ones that are being punished. They're the ones that are getting spanked for it. It makes no sense. So in Concord's case, it shouldn't be just like the people that coded the game, like they had a project they were assigned to work on, they did their job. The game runs, like the game is functional, it's a serviceable game, it's just not a good game, and it's a game nobody wanted. That is the problem of the people that brainstormed this, greenlight this, and then made the team work on it. So whoever came up with those ideas and pushed all this forward, those are the ones that are responsible for the tragedy that is Concord. It should have never existed in the first place. But yeah,
I think the game should have released a long time ago, in my personal opinion. I think this is what it went down, right? I think the game already finished a long time ago, but then I think they made the cutscenes. They were trying to focus on the cutscenes because they probably thought up an idea. Oh, why not we make a cutscene for every single character and then unleash it every single week? You know, and then they were basically like, okay, so how long should this take or so, and when should we release the game? And they're probably like, oh, I don't know, until we finish all the cutscenes or something like that, you know, for each character, you know, to introduce them, you know. I feel like that's basically about it, you know. I feel like this game was already done a long time ago, but they didn't fucking release it because they decided to do something like this or so with the cutscenes, because those are some pretty high quality cutscenes, you know. Like those cutscenes were pretty high quality. Even the cinematic like trailer that they had was also really high quality, you know. So I thought initially, like, you know, I feel like this game was done a long time ago, and I just think they just spent so much on the budget or so on the animation part, you know. But yeah, that is pretty much about it, man. Concord is shutting down, and that's pretty insane in my personal opinion. Hey, Sakura. Yeah, like, hey man, you guys can tell me if you guys have your opinion or so down in the comment sections, or what do you guys think if I had the possession or so, the IP or so, if Sony gave me the opportunity to turn, if they gave me like, okay, we'll give you the studio and we'll give you the IP for Concord, but we want you to make this as profitable as much, you know? And I'd be like, okay, that's easy. I can easily turn this game around, but it's going to be a different genre. And they'd be like, you know what? You do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with the game itself. And I'm like, all right, I got you. So I gave pretty much some ideas or so earlier in the recording or so. You guys can tell me what you guys think about it in the comment sections down below, you know? Would you guys play it if I made something like that, you know? I know people over here in my Twitch chat or so, they say they'd be interested or so if I did like a story quest like that where, you know, each single character so kind of goes a different direction or so when it comes to story mission structures. Sometimes two of the heroes will be together for a mission structure, you know? While the other two or the other three go into a different area and they have to fight different enemies or so, that's, you know, tries to basically try to counter them, you know, and then there'll be boss fights specifically for those characters, you know. I would have done something like Wukong. Wukong killed it with a different animated end of chapter scenes. Yeah, I think I would have done more like a cool comic book style in my personal opinion, you know. Here you go, Firewall. Hi, Firewall, then you'll make money, Firewalk. Yeah. Like, honestly, if you give me, if Sony would give me the, give me that or so, I would, well, of course I would redesign the characters, because some of the characters are not really that great, but I would redesign some of the characters, you know? I would definitely make them more appealing, in my personal opinion, you know, at least for some of the characters. I like, there's some characters that I have no problem with, right? But I would definitely change some of the characters, design-wise, to make them a bit more appealing, you know? Because at the end of the day, right? Because I saw a video specifically, right? The main concept of some of these characters being made or so, right? Like, this should be the baseline, because this is what I agree with Asmongold. Does somebody want to cosplay this character? Yes or no? You know? That's basically how I want to see, you know, how I would make the baseline. Like, would I cosplay this character? Yes or no? If I do not want to cosplay this character, right, because I think it doesn't look very great, that means you have to redesign the character again. And to the point that I will want to cosplay this character, you know? Because none of the characters from Concord, I want to cosplay any of these. Like honestly, like all the Concord characters, right? I'm going to be very honest with you. There's not really, like, a single one that I really want to cosplay. Like, look at this shit. Like, this is terrible. This is also terrible. I think I would make her hotter, in my personal opinion. You know, like the woman from Withering Waves, right? Let's see. Let's see, the grandma or so. What's her name? This girl, right? I would make her like that, at least, you know? At least that appealing, you know, in my personal opinion, with white hair. You know, I would make her like that, in my personal opinion, you know? The difference between this and then this or so, I would redesign her, you know? I don't like the armor design for this character personally. I think I would make her, I would literally change her to have more of like more like a mixture of like Amazonian and orc kind of type of armor, you know? I think that's how I would make this character personally, right? I would basically make her a muscle mommy. That's basically what I would redesign her specifically. I have no problem with this character. I think she's probably like maybe the only character I maybe might cosplay, because it's not really that insane, but I would change a few things here and there to make it more appealing though. But she does look pretty nice though. I do like her. This character, not really a huge fan of personally. I would probably change a few things about it, but that's pretty much about it. But I don't mind her personality. She has kind of like more like a childlike personality, so. This character, this literally looks like the guy from Apex, you know? That one dude from Apex. I don't know what his name specifically from Apex is, but he literally looks like him, but like a bargain brand of him, so. Not really a huge fan of it. I would definitely change the design 100% to make him look a little bit more menacing. Change the color palette itself. Go for a more darker theme for him. I have no fucking idea what this is, to be honest. Not really. I would change it, to be honest. If she's supposed to be like a secret agent, like aesthetic type, right? I would change her completely to make her fit that actual, you know, that actual theme. This character, I don't mind an alien one, but I might maybe change it just slightly a little bit or so, right? I would change a few things. I would change a few things for this character on top of that, you know. I would probably go more into the mystical type fantasy, you know, for her. You know, that's how I would do her, you know. I would make her more appealing, more sexy appealing, you know. Cuz you know, an alien girl, you know, a sexy alien girl, we all know it's you know, it's one of the things that hits pretty high up or so. So I would probably change her to be more sexy or so, but more mystical, you know. More of a mystical type of you know, like magic kind of dealing type of an alien type of girl, you know. Lennox, I actually don't have a problem with Lennox. I think I'd change a couple things here and there. His wardrobe, definitely I would change his wardrobe. But it's not bad or so. I would get rid of this puffy jacket and I would make it like a smaller jacket, you know? I would make it a smaller jacket. I wouldn't make it this big puffy jacket. I would make it a smaller jacket. This girl, I would 100% completely redesign her. I have no idea what the fuck this is, to be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. This character design, I have no idea what the fuck this is. This character, I have no problem with him, but I would probably change a few things, maybe. Like, not anything, like, super crazy or anything like that, but definitely, like, very minute, very, like, super minute things or so with this guy, you know? This guy... yeah, he's supposed to be, like, the standard, like, FPS kind of shooter person, right? Like, this kind of, like, the middle of the road kind of type of character. But I would try my best to make him at least, like, higher up on the tier list, you know? At least make him a B or an A type of character, you know? That's how I would try it, you know? To make him at least like that, you know? Her, definitely, I would change her up. I would change her up specifically because she's, like, a sniper character. I think I would go more of a grittier, more darker kind of type of character for her because she's a sniper. Like, basically kind of like in the realms of, like, Widowmaker, you know? And that's pretty much about it, you know? Like, honestly, like, this is what I would do with some of these characters, personally. Like, none of these characters I would enjoy cosplaying. I guess you can let her slide just a little bit, but not, like, a whole lot, personally, you know? Just only a little bit. I would make her slide at least, like, a little bit, but not, like, massive, you know? But all the other characters, like, who the fuck wants to cosplay this? Like, seriously, who the fuck? Like, this is supposed to be like a fucking apparently this is supposed to be a like a Hispanic character, and I'm like, what? This definitely does not give off that vibe whatsoever, you know. So this character is terrible, like 100% terrible. This character needs to be redesigned completely. The character for this one is just, come on, dude. This one needs to be completely redesigned too as well. This is the most weirdest character I've ever seen in my entire life. And yeah, the robot, I would probably change it to something a little bit more different, to be honest. So, but yeah, overall, like honestly, like, that's basically it. What do you guys think or so? What do you guys think about my, you know, rendition of Concord, if I had Concord in my possession, you know? But yeah, you guys can, like, you know, leave it down in the comment sections down below. And, you know, you guys can let me know what you guys think, man. Damn, dude. It didn't even last 2 weeks or so for Concord. 2 weeks. It did not even last for 2 weeks, to be honest. Ay. The biggest flop in gaming history, you know. for a live service game. I'll be honest with you. Hey man, even fucking Skull and Bones is doing pretty fucking well in my personal opinion compared to Concord. Shit, man, that's pretty sad. But anyways, you guys can leave me down in the comment sections. Tell me what you guys think specifically on what you think or so about the about my idea. And yeah, that's the end of the video. And I'm gonna go make Concord great again. And yeah.